Today's episode is in celebration of National Breastfeeding Awareness Month this August, which is why we are here at the Amuma ni Mama art exhibit, where we can find various paintings by local artists as a tribute to breastfeeding moms all over the world. But as much as there's so many wonderful content out there about breastfeeding, there's also a lot of misinformation surrounding it, which is why in today's episode, we are going to discover, or shall I say, undiscover 10 myths about breastfeeding that we should all debunk. So now we are here at the beautiful outdoor garden of the Cebu Plant Company. We'd like to thank Cebu Plant Company and Nimo Brew Cafe for being our hosts for this interview. And of course, joining me, my suki nga subject every breastfeeding month, we have Titadocmom, Titadoc Marini T Esguerra. Thank you so much for being part of the show once again, Doc.
Thank you for inviting me again, Andi. It's always a pleasure to talk about my favorite topic.
Yes, as in. So, di na natudugay-dugay yun pa, Doc
Yes,
Marini.
go.
So for this specific interview, Doc, we have researched 10 common breastfeeding misconceptions and your explanation to debunk these theories that we thought were true. Sige, let's start with misconception number 1. We mothers, or society in general, always most of the time think that upon childbirth, after labor, overflowing milk happens right there and then. Is this true or not?
Super not true. And this is the most common reason na dili maka-breastfeed ang mom kay she doesn't know what to expect ba. I think it's because they're not attending the recommended 2 sessions of breastfeeding classes that you have. And incidentally, every month nabay ako yung breastfeeding class niya. Free pag yun.
So what's the usual scenario after childbirth?
The usual scenario would be inigawa sa baby, magsige man siya tutoy every hour, every 2 hours, and you're not really gonna feel your breast harden and you're not going to see the milk flow. And as long as si baby nimo by the next day makaihi at least once, and then in the day after, makalibang sad siya, nakakuha na siya enough milk even if wala kakita nga nag-flow ang milk. Because this milk that you're flowing, that you're seeing in social media, guys, that happens in around 3 to 4 days pa. For some, even on the 5th day, depending on the circumstances of their birth. So, don't expect like waterfall of milk on day 1, day 2, because that's very concentrated colostrum, immunoglobulin, almost pure antibodies for your babies to take. That's
Which
why
is
it's so
enough.
gamay.
Enough, Rani, for the newborn.
Yes, 5 ml per feed.
So, dili angay magpanic, Doc, nga after panganak, wa ko'y gatas. Because it's usually the case nga colostrum, gamay ra sad gyud kaayo because this is what our baby needs.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Let's move forward to myth number 2. The size of the breast determines the amount of milk a mother produces. So, let's say, ang uban mo gud magtuod, Doc, nga kung gamay kag boobs, gamay ra sad kag gatas. Or vice versa, kung dako kag boobs to begin with before childbirth, daghan sad kay kag ma-produce nga milk. Well, what's the actual fact behind this? Or vice versa, kung dako kag boobs to begin with before childbirth, daghan sad kay kag ma-produce nga milk. Well, what's the actual fact behind this?
The fact is, your boobs are big when you have lots of fats in between the milk-making cells. So what makes your cup size is the fat. That's the adipose tissue, which does not make milk. Ang mag-make of milk kay specific glands nga naa sa in-between sa fat. So what matters is daghan ba ka glands, dili kung daghan ba ka fat. So it doesn't matter if you're a cup A, B, C, D, E, whatever cup, you can still make enough milk for your baby. Basta all the other factors are in place. No? But because there are some nga gamay ilahang milk, and that's the truth. And that's where the mothers need a little bit of help.
Yes, from lactation experts such as you. So dili sila angay mahadlok nga musik og advice from professionals.
Yes,
yun.
they should actually be receiving professional or medical care about breastfeeding during pregnancy pa. It is recommended to discuss this before the mothers give birth para kabao in town sila. So in ana.
So, if you are flat-chested, prepartum, doc, dili ka angay mabalak ka, nga dili ka makapa-breastfeed sa imong anak, di ba?
That is correct, but from a lactation consultant perspective, there are markers nga mo expected lactation difficulty. So, when you are pregnant and your breast does not increase by at least 1 cup size, not the 32, 33 ha, dili ka na, katong ABC. Your breast should increase at least 1 cup size, and there should be veining and color changes, and it feels a little bit heavier during sa mga around mid-second trimester. These are signs that your hormones are coming into play and the milk will come in. If this does not happen around the 2nd to 3rd trimester, then you might want to discuss it with your OB or the midwife who is taking care of you to prepare in cases of lactation difficulty, because that's the truth, no? Mothers don't get to breastfeed because they don't receive help.
Yes.
Because they don't know they need help.
Right. And mas nindot mong good karon millennial mothers, because we have so much access to information compared to our mothers back then nga we don't have these online communities where we can freely discuss and ask questions, diba? Next, misconception, kaniki na shock ko, doc, but I found this was also commonly asked in our milk making mommies group on Facebook. Bawal ko no maligo at night or muinom or mukaon og bugnaw before breastfeeding kay masubawan si baby. So mothers actually ask you this.
Yes, in different forms. Napay, kinahanglan ipasirit ang gata sa bongbong, inigikan ka sa work.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So is this true?
That's so not true. You can breastfeed your baby at any point, even if 1-2 days ka ba naka-breastfeed, or 4 hours because you were at work, or 8 hours because you were at work. Niwani mo siya nahabwa. Whether you mo breastfeed kay dili na siya mapanos inside the breast. Then dili sad masubawan si baby because init kuno ang lawas sa mama. Breastfeed, init mo nang murag musubaw ang baby. But that's not true at all. It's fine good to breastfeed right away kay di man na siya madaot while it's inside the breast.
Okay. So, kaniilahang mga misconceptions, Doc Marini nga. For example, muinom sa kag bugnaw. Let's say, muinom kag iced coffee from Nimo, Brew. And then, murag mabugnaw sa kuno ang gatas inside your body.
It's not about there's a little bit of parang relationship to cold and hot, because if hot mo increase ang flow sa milk. So maybe it came from that, no? And in many cultures, like in Chinese cultures, even in our culture, mothers are given hot beverages and hot food to increase their milk supply. And this is true because the hormone oxytocin mo pagawas sa milk from the breast is triggered kung naay hot or warmth. So kung naay cold, the reverse happens. So but it's not bughat, it's not nga
Masubawan. If you
masubawan.
drink.
Yeah, it's not. It just improves the flow if it's hot.
Okay. I wrote this down but you already answered this. So, again, just to emphasize, dili mapanos ang gatasud sa tutoy if wala nakapatutoy og pipila ka oras or adlaw. So, for example, I wasn't able to breastfeed for, let's say, overnight or 2 days. I can still safely breastfeed my child.
Right away.
Okay.
Yes.
Alright. Next misconception, left boob ko no water, right boob food. Mo nang kinahanglan ko no nga mapalatch ang baby on both breasts, or nasa giingon nga left boob rice, right food sudan. Sige, usa ni sa katinodo.
Favorite question ha siya. Not only sa Cebu ha, sa Bisaya, also when we go to conventions and apparently Philippines when siya nga tinuuhan. It's so interesting.
Kay we are rice eaters, manggod siguro.
Maybe.
Sige,
Maybe.
what's the truth behind this?
The truth is the milk that comes both right breast and left breast is the same. So it doesn't really matter kung adto ka sa left, adto ka sa right, asay mauna, dapat kuno unahan ang rice, una ang sudan. But that's not true, guys. It's the same ang milk sa left and right. What siguro would matter is if shorter ang interval sa imuhang breastfeed, kay mas fatty imong milk. Yeah, that would be like the different in the kind of content of the breast milk. So the longer interval of the breastfeed, the lower the fat content of your breast milk. So if you have a baby who is kanang slow weight gain bitaw, di kay siya pas-pas mo gain weight, kaya you may want to not lengthen the feed but shorter ang iyang interval of the feed. Puli-puli kay pwede mo good breastfeed sa usa ra kayo touch.
Yeah.
Pwede naman.
Because there are babies who also prefer a certain breast.
Yeah, pwede pantay.
Yes. Okay, so mas maayo na siya nga tip, Doc. Shorter intervals if medyo slow ang weight gain sa baby.
Yes.
Okay. Next one, Docky. Kani, bawal magpa-breastfeed if kapoy or depressed si mommy kay mapasa kuno ang kakapoy or depression ngadto sa baby through your milk.
It's not through the milk. The babies they don't have like they're not separate from us. Like if you review theories of personality, the babies really have their own self around 2 years old na, diba? So it's not the milk nga mapasa nila ang vibe sa mom.
Right.
Even if you're not breastfeeding, mapasa. So I know it's a lot of pressure to say nga I have to be happy when I'm not, I have to smile when I'm not. You know, postpartum depression is a real thing, especially now sa pandemic, no? But it's not the breast milk. In fact, when you're breastfeeding, the hormones of breastfeeding make you happy because those are also really the happy hormones.
So produce of oxytocin, which in return
is a happy hormone. So it makes you happier.
Yes, and then mas mudaghan ang imong milk flow.
Yes.
If you're happier.
And sleeping better too.
Right. Oo na, kinahanglan tabangan sad ang mommy nga makatulog.
Yes, yes.
Diba? It really takes a community to raise a child.
That's so
Next one, Docky. Kani, bawal magpa-breastfeed if sick si mommy. So if giubo or gihilantan, gisipon, dili angay patutuyon ang bata kay basig matakdan.
This is so important to me as a pediatrician. Before you show symptoms of an illness, you already have a prodrome. Nanakod na ka. For example, in measles, 3 days before you have the rash and the fever, you're already spewing out the virus to people around you, including your baby who is breastfeeding or not breastfeeding.
Okay.
So, what is the best way you can protect this child? By giving your antibodies to the baby continuously, and the only way to do that is except blood transfusion is milk transfusion. So if you give your antibodies to your baby, you're able to protect your baby from any illness, not 100% but to a certain degree nga ma-lessen ang severity sa illness. This goes for dengue, COVID. In dengue fever, di mo gusto sila magpa-breastfeed kay ga-fever ang mom and they don't know what it is, no? So they stop breastfeeding the baby. It does not protect the baby from dengue fever, but it continues to give antibodies to the baby, which is protective from many illnesses. COVID, even if na kay COVID, mas maayo nga nagpa-breastfeed ka kay nanakod na kauna.
Mag-face mask lang, just for
surgical
precaution.
mask.
Surgical mask lang
So cloth mask when you're sick is not okay. You have to use a surgical mask.
And this is what makes breast milk special, Doc, no, kay, because it has antibodies nga dili ma-replicate ani formula milk. Nga ang composition gyud niya would really be to cater to the needs of both the baby and the mom. Kay even sexy baby ang atong milk malahi sad iyahang formulation.
Yes.
Diba?
Time specific siya and then environment. So within 30 minutes of exposure to something, your body is already making antibodies to protect yourself. And when you breastfeed your baby, nanatudayon sa imuhang breast milk. So like magical.
Magic. Next Docky. Kamunggay ra ba gyud ang makapadaghan sa gatas? Kay di ba mo ora man gyud na ang solusyon kamunggay, but is this the only way to increase your breast milk supply?
Di manggod. Kamunggay manggod in the Philippines is barato and everywhere. Tagpila ng pungpong ron,
Free.
If you're a breastfeeding mom, naupaw na imong kamong diba? So, it's very nutrient dense, no? High in iron, vitamin A, it has fiber, and it's so available to us. That's why you always say like kamunga in the Philippines. But in other countries, they have others too.
Yeah, spinach.
Fennel, alfalfa, mga ingon ana. But we can have these too. There are sellers like online, kita ka na yung mga sellers. But they're so mahal, diba? Kamunggay is just it provides you with the nutrients that you needed to function well. So when you take these galactagogues are food or drinks that increase your breast milk supply. These are food that you should have been eating anyway, whether you're breastfeeding or not, to improve the function of your whole body. So if your breast milk increases when you take these food, that means you should have been eating better to begin with.
Okay, pero unsa lang imong tip, Doc, if for example, for a mother nga medyo gamay ra gid siya milk supply, unsa man jay angay like hydration, sige inom og tubig.
Kung gamay iyang milk supply, mo breastfeed siya more. Because kung mahabwa ang milk sa breast, mas sige mag-produce ang body og breast milk, because the body will always preferentially give the nutrients to the baby. Mo nang usay ang mama malosyang. That's why the mother has to eat well for herself, because the baby will be able to get the nutrients even if the nutrition of the mom is not that great. So it is not the nutrient content of the breast milk that will suffer if the mother were undernourished. It is the volume. So kana mag-diet, I know it's not the question, no? Kana mag-diet. Whether mag-diet, pwede. But when your carbohydrate, your total intake decreases, usually carbs may iana natin, no? Mugamay ang volume. So you have to strike this balance between the food that you're taking to remain nourished at the same time fit.
But how effective are these lactation products, like lactation cookies, kana ato makitaan online?
They're quite effective because they are a nutrient dense food, except they're so sweet. Because what are these made of? Oatmeal, no? Rich in iron, fiber, they have flaxseed, and then they put pa mga nuts in it, so you're giving food into kanang kulangan og pagkaon imong pagkaon, so nindot iyahang function, but they are not the only food nga maka-increase og breast milk. Kay mahal sad siya.
Right.
Kaon na lang ka og tinola kana og bulalo. Daghaw nga mo increase lang milk after bulalo.
Okay.
Insa ko sugod ma-cholesterol sa
Kani Doc, we've been talking about the benefits of breast milk, no? Pero naman gud ni siya kanang kinaraan nga tuo-tuo, Doc, ba nga kung piskaton kuno any member in the family, patulaan kuno og breast milk, tambal ba sa piskat ang gata sa mama? Is this true or not?
No studies. So that's it. So, kung gusto mo mag-fund, please make a research on the effectivity of breast milk on conjunctivitis. We will welcome that research. Kaya medically, we cannot suggest if it is not evidence-based. So, no studies.
So, kung gipiskat ka, magpa-check up ka. Dili magbasta-basta og self-medicate.
Yes.
Okay. Last one na lang yun, Doki. Kanisha, medyo triggered ko based on my experiences as a mom, because there's always this, especially in the Philippines, we have this belief that only fat babies are healthy. Like fat, as in makitaan dyan na to ang mga arm rolls, ani. This is what's almost made me stop breastfeeding, because sa breastfeeding mga doc, you don't see how much milk they get, aside of course from their urine output or kung nakapupo ba si baby, but lahi mo gud sa formula milk na masukod nimo kung unsa kadaghan. So I've been receiving, because my first child, Theo, he's not the chubby type. He's the lean type yun ang iyahang built. But I've been receiving comments nga, uy, ipakuan na siya, ipa-formula, because basin mo ng reason why daot siya, I should stop breastfeeding or mix feed my child. So kani siya nga misconception nga dapat tambok ang bata para ma-consider siya nga healthy. Is this true or not?
Super not true. kanang overweight or obese na gyud, this is also kind of malnutrition. And this leads to dakog bayranan sa maintenance igtiguang na siya. Like 4,000 a month because na siya diabetes, na siya mga ana as an adult, because your state of health as a bata ka, especially sa first 1,000 days kanang below sa 2 years old, kay lifelong ang impact ana niya. So if you're already an obese child, and when you grow up, you'll probably be also. And the damage to your body, the stress of your body begins at around 2. Lifelong ang impact ana. So actually, wala ko na anad og mga tambok nga babies. Kaya not so much, we breastfed man most of my patients. So, not so much. Magkita ako og baby nga tambok, manay ko.
So, mga kinahanglan ikuan, i-look into.
It's a mindset. It's a mindset. I think the moms have to change the mindset also as the milk as food.
Yes.
Now, at a certain point, the milk is a good source of protein and calcium, but not the only. There are better sources of protein and calcium. When they are 2 years old, 3 years old, they don't need that follow-on milk anymore because they should be eating.
Yes.
In fact, if you drink too much milk, more than 3 glasses a day, this causes anemia na. Plus, bati og nipon, especially kung nag-bottle, kay stay man siya. And wala man gud siya itong mga lactoferrin, wala siya itong mga factors in human milk that will lessen dental caries. So, daghang mga disadvantages. So, I think now's a good time because we're having this conversation and this is kapilan na nato nga year that we're talking about. So, when we started this advocacy, there were no conversations like this. So,
tinuod yun, Doc.
It's a good
so, para
start.
makalma ang ato ang mga mommies and daddies out there, Doc, unsa man giday ang sukdanan sa healthy nga child? Gawa sa atong tuo sa una nga ang weight or dapat chubby. When can you say that the child is healthy?
That's a very long answer, but to shorten it, one of the easiest way to do that is to take your katubitang sa health center nga bakuna. Sa luyuan na niya na growth chart, di ba? Palit ka sa Shopee ug Lazada or weighing scale. Timbangon nimo nung anak. Then i-plot nimo sa growth chart. I think it's quite easy kay weight unya, height unya, kung pila iyahang needed. Basta naa siya sa line. And then growth and development also ang kuan ang iyahang developmental milestones and other
and then
things
kung
like
dili
that.
sad sikli.
Udi sad sikli kay lean pero lig-on. Usually basta breastfed.
Right. Okay, thank you so much, Doc Marini. Sa di pa tamo bye-bye sa tong mga audience. Any message that you'd like to say to all mothers, especially this National Breastfeeding Awareness Month this month of August?
Happy Breastfeeding Month sa tanan natong mga mothers ug mga fathers, lolas, lolos, because it takes a community to breastfeed, dili lang ang mama, no? Thank you so much sa inyong interest sa breastfeeding because it truly is life-saving and life-changing for everybody. What I can say lang is there's so many ways to get information nowadays. Just, click lang ka, ask lang ka na. And of course, you can always ask for breastfeeding support from breastfeeding peer counselors. And actually, doctors, midwives, nurses are required to take breastfeeding units. So, required na yun na sa ato akaron. So, you can be at peace nga, you can get information easily na karon kay pwede na nimo i-google. Diretso lang. So again, thank you so much sa pag-invite.
Thank you so much, Doc Marini. You can also visit Doc Marini's page on Facebook. That's Titadocmom Marini T Esguerra. And if I may add, really information is really the key. And kuan lang sad siguro, we have to check reliable information. So I'd highly recommend kining mga legit nga Facebook groups such as Milk Making Mommies. They really screen the questions and answers. Bawal ra sad magpataka og post og panghutana. So ana lang yun. So thank you so much for watching this. Hopefully daghan mong nakatunan. And of course, again, you would like to say a special thanks to Cebu Plant Company and Nimo Brew Cafe. If you guys want to enjoy good food, good coffee, and at the same time, a wonderful place to enjoy, visit them here at Kasanta Soong in Lapu-Lapu City. So there you have it. Thank you so much, Titadocmom Marini T Esguerra. So there you have it. In breastfeeding, bawal ang fake news. We only have to trust reliable information for an easier breastfeeding journey. You've got this, mommy. Just keep on going, one latch at a time. This has been Andi for AnDiscoveries.